Hello. Hello, girly pups. My name is Singular Tups, and welcome back to Hello. If you've ever had a day where you don't hit a goal and then immediately spiral into these thoughts of, I am worthless, I deserve nothing, I am just a failure, well, then this episode is for you because today we're talking about giving yourself some grace. I do not know about you, but I am a Scorpio and I am literally so hard on myself. I hold myself to such a crazy standard that the second I, fall short, even by a little bit, I go into full self-destruction mode. Like, it's because I'm very much like all or nothing, okay? Like, I didn't wake up today at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. I am the laziest person to ever live. I wasn't as productive as I expected. I'm very much so useless. I made a little bit of a mistake. Well, I'm the worst person to ever live. And if literally any of this sounds familiar, then it's because you have also been there at some point, and I understand you. But here's the thing, girly. You are a human being. You're not a machine. You are not going to give your 100% every day. You're not going to be at 100% energy every single day. And even machines, like, listen, you go ask my freaking MacBook Pro that is supposed to be so fancy. She's overheating every other day. Some days she's slaying the house down. Some days I'm like, it is about to light up on fire. So even machines cannot give their 100% every single day. Bottom line, you are allowed to feel tired, to feel unmotivated, to feel whatever you want to feel, and this does not define your self-worth. But today we're going to break it down, why we're so hard on ourselves, how we can shift our mindset, and how to actually practice real ways to give ourselves grace on a daily basis. Because, this literally obviously makes sense. You've obviously heard this before, but the fact that you know that this doesn't define you and the fact that you've heard this in the past doesn't mean that you still don't feel sucky when one of these things happen. So let's just get it together. And I almost forgot, the drinks of the day is water from my Awala and a little mint tea in my favorite cup. So I think we need to start from the beginning. Why are we so freaking hard on ourselves? Well, I think I have at least one of the reasons very much so broken down, and I've been dealing with this on therapy. We equate productivity with worth. Now, here's the thing. Somewhere along the way of your childhood or your adulthood, you mentalize that being productive meant you being busy, and that's why when you take a little break you feel lazy. And I struggle with this a lot because I was very much so, listen, I am Hispanic, okay? In a Hispanic household with a Hispanic mother, you are always cleaning, and I think now I struggle with just sitting still. And I very much so remember my mom, like when I was little, I feel like here in the US a parent's dream would be for your child to be reading, okay? Like a dream. My entire life I've always read a lot, and I remember, and this probably happened in like multiple opportunities, but I remember this one specific chance where I was laying on our couch, like, because it was just my mom and I was laying on the couch reading a book. I was reading the 50 Shades of Grey, and I was maybe 13, maybe 15 years old, maybe 13, and she was mopping the floor, okay? So I'm like, well, she's mopping the floor. It's not like I can be walking around because I'm going to dirt the floor around. So I'm just going to lay down and read. And I'm laying down and reading, and she comes at me so freaking upset. And Hispanic upset, okay? Not like normal upset. No. Latina upset. Well, do you think it's fair that you're sitting there reading while I'm here doing all this work? And I'm like, fuck, like I genuinely thought that I was like doing the best thing ever by just laying down and not dirtying the floor. Anyways, and like that thing just repeated itself throughout my childhood. And I think now I feel a lot of guilt by just sitting down. And it is to the point where if I'm watching a movie, I need to be doing something else. Like I need to be coloring or like doing something like painting my nails to feel like I'm not just wasting time by watching a movie. And I think this pattern just sets unrealistic expectations. Listen, even athletes have rest days, okay? Like pro athletes have rest days where they just have to lay down, like, let their muscles breathe a little bit so that they can grow and like they can repair themselves. Even machines will break down if they're operating at 100% every single day. What makes you think that you're better than a machine? You're literally not. So honestly, girlies, in reality, you're not a bad person by just needing to rest. Machines need to rest. Pros need to rest. You need to rest. Even if it is by just sitting down and watching a movie. And this, I'm telling it also to myself. You are okay if you literally just need to rest. But to be honest, although I think even if we're conscious that we need to rest and we need the time, I think social media makes it worse. And I feel like in a couple of episodes, I've been giving a lot of shit to social media. And I love social media because, I'm here, right? But I do think that social media makes like the whole not being graceful with yourself a lot harder, because you see the girlies going to their workout at 5 a.m. and you're like, how are they doing this? And then there's this hustle culture of somebody having 10 jobs and you're like, what in the world? I can barely make it with the one I have. But in reality, you are only seeing the good part. You're not seeing the burnouts. You're not seeing the breakdowns. You're only seeing what people want you to see. For example, I am that person that wakes up and goes to the gym at 5 a.m., okay? But some days I stay later at work, and you best believe I'm not going to wake up at 4:55 to be at the gym at 5. And there's also a lot of work that comes with going to the gym at 5 a.m. That means that I have to leave every single outfit planned the night before, my workout outfit packed. I have to get all the things to my hair to do it at the gym. I have to have meal preps done. There's a lot of planning that comes around with going to the gym at 5 a.m. At least for me it is, okay? But people are not seeing that. People are simply seeing a picture of me at the gym at 5 a.m. They're not seeing me carrying 100,000 things. My work bag, the gym bag, the bag with my clothes, the bag with my hair stuff. Like, they're not seeing any of that. They're just seeing me at the gym at 5 a.m. And there's probably somebody at home saying, damn, I feel so bad. I feel so lazy. Like, look at her. She's doing it. Why can't I do it? And in reality, like, yeah, I'm doing it. But there's also days where I do not have the fuel to do it. And I think we tend to tie our identity to our achievements, okay? I know that when I started to go to the gym at 5 a.m., that became my entire personality, okay? I was anyone who asked me, yeah, because I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. And I felt better than anybody. And like, I did for a while. Now I don't, because I'm like, I mean, as long as somebody's working out, like whether it's at 5 a.m., at 11 a.m., or at midnight, like, you're doing it. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm trying to say is that instead of seeing achievements as something we do or as something we accomplish, we see them as something that we are. So when I didn't wake up at 5 a.m. because that was my entire personality, when I didn't do it, it felt like a personal failure. It felt like I was less than. It didn't feel like a human experience of, God damn, I didn't wake up today. No. It felt like I am the worst person in the planet because I did not wake up today to go work out. Does that make sense? No. But, you felt like that for sure. But let's talk about that little voice in your head that's telling you, you're not doing enough. You're not good enough. That little voice is lying to you, and we need a little brain rebrand. And I mention this in every single one of my episodes. We need a little brain rebrand. Not because you think I'm a failure means that it's a fact. I mean, you can make it a fact because the more you tell something to yourself, the more you're going to believe it. But the fact that you're thinking it doesn't mean that it's true. Because let me tell you something. Our brains are wired to focus on the negative part of absolutely anything. It's a survival mechanism. It's normal. However, that doesn't mean that you need to believe anything that it's telling you. Because most time it isn't true. And I'm going to give you some advices, okay? Once in a movie, I do not remember what movie, but it simply stuck with me. Was it Aquila? I honestly have no idea what movie it was, but this was when I was little, okay? It was somebody telling something else like, when you get into the ring for boxing, do you start hitting yourself in the face? And the person was like, no, of course not. Like, that's absurd. Well, then why are you telling yourself that you're worthless, that you're going to lose, that you're not good enough, that you blah, blah, blah? It's like you're putting yourself down before the fight has even started. So why would you even get in the ring if you know you're going to lose? And this applies to absolutely everything. Listen, if you didn't wake up to the gym at 5 a.m., that doesn't mean you can wake up tomorrow. That doesn't mean you can't work out that same day in the afternoon. I have no idea. Go on a walk, okay? Go on a 3-hour walk. Do whatever you want. But the fact that you didn't go to the gym at 5 a.m. does not mean that your entire day is wasted and that you're a bad person. And if my little analogy with the punching yourself in the face didn't do it for you, let's try something else, girly pops. If your friend, not even a friend, if your best friend told you that she skipped the gym today because she was exhausted, would you tell her, well, you suck, you're worthless? You wouldn't do that, right? That's insane. She was tired. She's fine. Then why are you telling that to yourself? I'm just leaving that there. Food for thought. But I think the whole like, oh, don't do it doesn't really cut it, because your brain doesn't work like that, right? So instead of simply saying, well, don't think like that, let's do a little rebrand, okay? Like, let's reword the things that are going into our head. So instead of, oh, I didn't wake up to work out, I'm lazy, you can instead say, well, I didn't wake up today to work out because my body needed a little bit of rest, and I'm going to feel even more energized the rest of the day. And that's it. Tomorrow I'll work out. The fact that you miss a workout does not mean that it's the end of the world. Or, for example, you were not as productive as you wanted around cleaning the house, and your brain is telling you, oh, I didn't do anything, I'm useless. No. Instead, you can say, I did as much as I possibly could today, and that's good enough. And tomorrow you can do more. Okay, but once you already know all of these shenanigans, how do we actually start to be kinder to ourselves, to giving ourselves some more grace? Because let's be 100% honest, it's a lot easier said than done. So here are a couple of things that have helped me ease this process. Number one is to understand that one day off doesn't erase all of your progress. Girly, missing one gym session, one solid core class does not mean you're lazy. Eating one cookie or one bag of cookies doesn't mean that you are unhealthy. Having one unproductive day where you're literally just laying on your bed and falling asleep every couple minutes, just getting up to pee, maybe get some water, and then going right back to sleep does not mean you're a failure. It's the overall consistency that matters, not really perfection. And we have an episode that if you haven't listened, highly recommend you do after this one, called Forget Perfection, Just Make Progress. Honestly, kind of a big deal. And let me tell you how I see things, okay? Because I feel like I like to see the whole picture of everything before I do anything. So I wanted to do for a while like my own version of 75 Hard, which I think the original 75 Hard is like, no alcohol, not this, not that. And I'm like, no. I just wanted to work out for 75 days and eat healthy for 75 days. 75 days felt so fucking unattainable. I literally had 75 post-its all over my wall. And the idea was like, okay, I'll take one out every single day. And guess what happened? I didn't work out every single fucking day. And like in my head, it reset it every single time that, let's say I went to the gym 6 days in a row. If I didn't go on the 7th day, I was like, well, gotta start again. Excuse me. So 75 just felt like such a big number and so unattainable. So the way I started looking at things was instead day by day, honestly. And mind you, I did go through like a week by week situation, but honestly, sometimes even 7 days feel like such a struggle. And then I couldn't do that one either, so I had to shorten it again. And I went day by day, okay? And now I'm like, today I am going to work out. And sometimes it's like a loose statement, okay? Because ideally, I will work out at 5 a.m. because that's just what fits best into my schedule. But if I didn't work out at 5 a.m., I can still make it to the gym at 6 p.m. when I get home from work. Or if I don't want to make it to the gym at 6, because let's be honest, that's the time where the weird guys are around, I'll simply go on a walk after work, on like a long walk. And I'll walk a little bit fast to get my blood running. But I'll simply move my body. The goal is to move the body. That's it. And that's helped me deal a little bit better with the whole like, oh my gosh, like I can't do anything right. Because if I set the goal of today I'm working out at 5 a.m., I only have one chance to make that happen. I only have 5 a.m. And if I didn't wake up, well, I'm a failure. So no, the goal is to work out. Ideally 5 a.m. If not, to work out. And that's simply it. Number 2, listen, I am honestly my hardest critic, and I've really had to start implementing this with myself. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. If you wouldn't say it to a friend, do not say it to yourself. Simple, easy, that's it. Number 3, and I'm a huge advocate for this one because I believe in positive reinforcement. Celebrate what you did instead of what you didn't do. Listen, in 2023, after I went through a heartbreak, it wasn't really a heartbreak anyways, like whatever. When I separated from my ex-husband, I became the biggest fucking gym rat you could have ever met. I was spending 3 hours at the gym, sometimes twice a day, okay? Because that just became my only coping mechanism, because if there's somebody that's competitive, it's me. And I said, if this guy is gonna go and cheat on me, I am going to be hotter than whoever he could ever cheat with. And I did become hot AF, regardless, not a healthy coping mechanism, because as I said, I'm very much all or nothing. But after I fell off of being, like a gym rat, I felt so guilty of why do I not like the gym as much anymore? How can I get back into it? Because I gained weight and it was just a whole deal. So I was like, how can I get back into it? I bought new outfits to feel cute. It didn't really get me back into it. I got new shoes. Didn't get me into it. But you know what did work? Celebrating every single time that I went to the gym. So I started implementing, if I went to the gym at 5 a.m., that meant that I could go buy a coffee from my favorite cafe that day. And you best believe that I would wake up every day at 5 a.m. so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a coffee today. And if I didn't work out, I didn't get a coffee. It wasn't the end of the world because I'm not going to die if I don't buy a coffee. But, my mornings weren't as special anymore because I like seeing the same baristas and I like saying hello and I like taking my little cute picture with my coffee. So you best believe every morning I wanted to keep going simply to get the coffee. Not because I was loving the gym. Absolutely not. But because I was loving the coffee. So listen, the ends justify the means, okay? If my ends was the coffee and the means was the gym, I was going to keep doing the gym. And do it to whatever extent suits you best. I know girls that have like a checklist of like, okay, if I go to the gym for 3 days in a row, I'll put $5 aside to buy a new whatever, right? I kind of buy whatever I want whenever I want, but the coffee was the perfect thing for me. So find something that works for you, but celebrate the things that you did do. And also focus on what you did instead of what you didn't. So for example, maybe you didn't finish your to-do list, but you answer all of your emails. That counts. Maybe you didn't work out, but you went on a walk. That counts. Maybe you didn't clean your entire house. Maybe you didn't deep clean your entire house, but you change your bed sheets and you meal prep. That counts. And number 4, remember that rest is productive. I'm going to say it louder. Rest is productive. Girly pops, your body and your brain need downtime. And guess what happens when you don't do that? Burnout. You want a girl boss a little too close to the sun? You're going to get burned out. That's what's going to happen. And you have to stop feeling guilt for resting. And I still, to this day, struggle with it. And I'm going to tell you a little grounding technique that my therapist told me to do. And it's actually really changed the way that I approach things nowadays. So I told my therapist that I really struggle with sitting down and doing just one thing at a time. Because if I'm doing just one thing, it feels like I am just wasting time. Okay, I need to be doing 2 things at a time. And this could mean literally I'm at work, working all day on my computer. And I have to have a podcast going because I'm like, well, I can just be working. I need to be doing more with my brain, okay? Or like I'm reading and I'm listening to music, or I'm watching a movie and I'm doing a coloring book. Whatever it is, I need to be doing 2 things at a time. Is this healthy for me? Not really, but it's simply what I'm used to, right? But I told my therapist, like, this is not who I would like to be. I would like to be a more relaxed, a more rested person. What am I doing? And she told me 1 time per day, you can tell your brain that you're doing 2 things, but in reality, you're only doing 1. So she told me, focus on your senses, right? While you're doing something. So for example, what is a routine that you do every day regardless? And I said, well, I do my skincare every day. Regardless of the situation, I'm doing a skincare. And she's like, okay, so let's say you're putting your lotion, right? So focus on the textures and focus on the smells. So you're opening the container and then ask yourself, how does the container feel? Does it feel smooth? Does it feel rough? I know this might sound a little silly, but just bear with me, okay? Does it feel soft? Does it feel smooth? Oh, I opened the container. How does the cream smell? Does it smell sweet? Does it smell floral? How does it smell powdery? How does it smell? Oh, I'm applying the cream. Okay, what's the texture? How does it feel on my skin? Does it feel cooling? Does it feel sticky? How is it feeling? And do all of this while you're breathing, okay? You're like fully like you're fully taking deep breaths when you're thinking of every single one of these things. In reality, you're only doing 1 thing because you're only applying a lotion. But your brain is assuming it as if you're doing all of these things. But over time, you're going to have control of your nervous system and you're going to have control of your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings and everything else to be able to do 1 thing at a time. And this can translate to other things. So this was the skincare for me. But for example, let's say you really like to color and you like coloring books, right? So you're going to open a marker, smell the marker. Does it smell? Does it not smell? Okay, how does it feel on the paper? Touch it. Does it feel sticky? Does it feel wet? How does it feel? And focus on the thing that you're doing. Your brain is going to assume that you're doing 3 different things, that you're coloring, that you're smelling, and that you're breathing. So it's still going to be a little bit, processing, but over time it's going to know, oh, look, I'm able to focus on 1 single thing. And I've been doing it. Trust me, therapists, or at least my therapist, she knows what she's doing because this is a life changer. So bottom line, girlies, because I feel like I talked a lot, rest isn't wasted time. It's simply recovery time so that you can show up as your best self later on. And if you've been relating with any of this or if you've been finding it helpful, please go follow me on any social platforms. It's at It's a Law Podcast or at Dubs. And last but not least, girlies, to be a little bit gentler with yourself, zoom out and look at the big picture. Do not focus on the details. Look at the big picture. A bad day is just a bad day. It doesn't define the rest of your life, the rest of your week. It doesn't define you as a whole. It's just a bad day. Like, think about this, okay? Let's say you had one bad day out of 7 days on a week, okay? If you're watching a movie and 30 seconds of that movie sucks, are you going to turn it off? Not really. You're probably going to continue watching, give it a chance, and maybe at the end you like it. Okay, but 30 seconds do not define the entire movie. So why should a day or just one action on a day define the rest of your week? It shouldn't, right? No, it does not. Because guess what? One setback doesn't erase all of your progress. The fact that you didn't go to the gym one time this week does not mean that your muscles are going to be gone. Girly, they're still going to be there. I trust me, they're going to be there. Or the fact that you ate one bag of cookies this month, the entire bag, forget about one cookie, you ate the entire bag of cookies, does not mean that you're going to gain 40 pounds. You're going to be fine. And girly pops, if you are going to take anything from this episode, let it be this. You are doing better than you think. You do not need to be perfect to be worthy, and you don't have to hit every single goal to be successful. And if you don't hit every single goal, you don't have to bully you into actually hitting it. Please don't. It's 2025. We are not here for that. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some credit. And remember that not because today wasn't perfect means that tomorrow is going to suck. You can make it an amazing day tomorrow. And as per usual, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening. My DMs are open if you want to talk about anything that you resonated with this episode. And don't forget, if you have a friend that's been struggling with this, please share it with them. They might learn something out of it. And don't forget to follow me on all social platforms as at It's a Love Podcast or at Dubs, because I always love hearing from you. Besitos!